The lesser reason was that he was a bowler and not a batsman. Now this is something I actually as a cricket player feel passionately about, as a cricket player and a resident of Karnataka, because I believe the greatest the greatest Indian bowler was Anil Kumble, and he was never made captain of the Indian cricket team because he was a bowler. There's a caste system. There's a literal caste system operating in cricket teams across the world. Shane Warne would have made a great captain of the Australian team. Now, so that was the one reason, but there was another reason, and there's a much more fundamental reason. M.B. Pai was a Gaud Saraswat Brahmin, and Palwankar Balu was a Dalit. And I started probing more and more about this fascinating man. And his life story is an extraordinary saga of courage under adversity. It's not dissimilar to the life story of Comrade Chavan, whom we have met here to honor. Palwankar Balu was born in 1875 in Dharwad, which incidentally Nandan has some connection with. He came up the Mumbai presidency, the train line to Pune. His father worked in Kirki, because one of the few opportunities that Dalits got was to work in ammunition factories set up by the British. Palwankar Balu started playing, on the kind of wherever he could. He got a job in the all-white Pune club, where he used to mark the pitches as a groundsman and bore in the nets. Because the white Englishmen wanted practice. So they were happy for a Dalit bowler to bowl. But in all his hours and years in the Pune club, Palwankar Balu was never allowed to bat. But his skill as a bowler reached the ears of the Hindus in the city area of Pune. They used to play an annual match with the Europeans. Balu was recruited, and quite often he won the match for them. But when the tea interval, which is a sacred rite in a cricket match, was consecrated, Palwankar Balu was served tea outside the pavilion in a disposable cup because of his caste. Now, the story continues. He comes to Mumbai, which is the center of Indian cricket. He plays for the Hindus. But the merchants and the Brahmins, the Manyas and the Brahmins who run the PJ Hindu Gymkhana, do not, even though he is the finest ever cricketer, do not make him captain. In 1911, the first All India team towards England. They are thrashed in all the matches. Only one person comes out with honor, Palwankar Balu, who gets 150 wickets at 16 runs apiece. And if the Indian sleep fielding then was anything like it is now, we know he should have actually got 300 wickets. Now, the ship comes back from England. You think of the story. A Dalit from Dharwad via Pune makes his name on the English cricket fields. Several counties offer him contracts, which is inconceivable. This is pre-globalization. It's before Infosys was created for Indians to go all over the world and get contracts. So Palwankar Balu doesn't know what a contract is. He comes back home, and on the ship back, he and his brother Shivram, who is a fine all-rounder and also a member of that team, are given a felicitation by the Dalits of Mumbai, and the Manpatra is read by a certain B.R. Ambedkar. According to Eleanor Zelliot, who is the great authority on the Mahar movement and on the Dalits of Maharashtra, this was Ambedkar's first public appearance. Was as a brilliant young student of Mumbai College. His first public appearance was to felicitate Palwankar Balu. But yet, he cannot be made captain. And the struggle continues. Through the 1910s, he is the best Hindu bowler. The Hindus beat the Parsis and the Europeans and the Muslims because of Palwankar Balu. But his caste is held against him. So much so that his own captain, M.B. Pai, is embarrassed into admitting that he is not the person qualified for the job. Move forward to the year 1920, the year Comrade Chavan was born. In that year, Mahatma Gandhi started making speeches about how Indians would not be fit for Swaraj unless they rid themselves of the sin of untouchability. The year 1920 was when, for the first time in a concrete political way, Gandhi made the abolition of untouchability a precondition for Indians earning the right to demand independence for the British. Now this is a time of great ferment, it's the first non-cooperation movement, and cricket gets caught up in it. Gandhi starts making these speeches in August and September as Comrade Chavan enters the world in 1920. In December 1920, the quadrangular tournament is held in Mumbai. ND Pai falls sick. So who else can be captain but Palwankar Balu? But the upper caste Hindus can't countenance it. Now just think of it. You know, a captain in a cricket 11, those of you who play sport know, that a captain in a cricket 11 is much more important than a captain in a football team or a hockey team or a rugby team or a kabaddi team, because he has to, the number of changes he has to monitor and orchestrate. And to make a Dalit captain of a cricket team is to symbolically totally upturn the caste hierarchy. Because you have to admit that the Dalit knows more about tactics than the Brahmin. So ND Pai can't play. Now, instead of making Balu captain, the upper caste Hindu selectors drop Balu from the team. Now, as it happens, Balu's two younger brothers, Palwankar Vitthal and Palwankar Shivaram, were also part of the Hindu team. And when Balu was dropped, and instead of Pai, a Brahmin from Pune, with all the resonances that phrase, a Brahmin from Pune, present company accepted, all the resonances that phrase call to mind, even to a Don Maharashtrian like me. Balu is dropped and a Brahmin from Pune is chosen captain. Balu's brothers, Vitthal and Shivaram, respectively the Hindu's best batsman and the Hindu's best all-rounder, go on strike. An act that the infant Yashwant Chavan, I think, would have totally approved of. Long before Yashwant Chavan organized the oppressed and for their rights, while he was a little toddler, Vitthal and Shivaram went on strike. And they said, we will not play. And they issued a statement in which they said, in arriving at this decision not to play, we feel very strongly the covert or overt insult leveled at us as belonging to the so-called depressed class, as it amounts to a nullification of our claims for recognition for all time. That such matters as caste should be the determining factor in cricket is more than we can quietly bow down to. Hence our decision to stand down from the Hindu team this year. The impartial cricket-loving public will understand our position and exonerate us from all blame, as we have chosen to stand down on a question of principle and self-respect. It's an extraordinary statement from two Dalit cricketers in the year 1920. And the impartial cricket-loving public of Mumbai did exonerate them. They raised a subscription for them to sustain them for whatever financial losses they had incurred. But they were still reactionaries and dogmatists among the Hindu order. The next year, the tournament was held in Pune, and all the Palwankar brothers were dropped. And the Hindus lost humiliatingly in the semi-final. And following the humiliation, the great Marathi playwright Mama Varedkar wrote a play about how caste discrimination occurred on the cricket field. The next year, 1923, the tournament was held again in Mumbai. Balu was too old. But as a result of this groundswell of public opinion and the anger and the animosity of the impartial cricket-loving public of Mumbai, no doubt fueled by the sentiments of Gandhian nationalists, Palwankar Vitthal, his brother, was made captain. And it has a fairy tale ending to it, because the Hindus played the Europeans in the final. Vitthal scored 100, the Hindus won. Vitthal hit the winning runs, and he was carried off the field on the shoulders of caste Hindus.